This was not a routine succession. In 2005, Tsukasa Shinobu took the top seat as the old balance inside the Yamaguchi-gumi was collapsing. It was a stunning gamble. Tsukasa still faced criminal appeals and the looming threat of prison, yet he took control of the empire. His relative youth and ironclad stamina gave him a lethal edge over his aging rivals. Even the mighty Yamakan-gumi, the syndicate's dominant faction, was critically crippled. Its boss, Kuwada, was locked in a detention cell, his health rapidly deteriorating. With the Yamakan boss sidelined, Tsukasa stood unchallenged, holding absolute control over his own loyalists as the succession war commenced. To understand why Tsukasa emerged as the undisputed heir, we must rewind to March 2004, when Takizawa's legal nightmare took a shocking turn. Prosecutors demanded 10 years, but when the gavel finally fell, a single verdict echoed through the underworld: not guilty. The court's logic was dangerously simple. Takizawa had used his real name at hotels and displayed no signs of a strict security detail. He was even seen receiving a massage with his hotel door wide open, proof of a man completely exposed. Surveillance caught him leading his group on casual outings, shattering the prosecution's claim of a heavily armed escort. He even walked to the barber shop alone. This acquittal lit a beacon of hope for Tsukasa Shinobu, signaling that he too might beat his pending charges. By contrast, a defeated Nakano Taro announced his retirement in 2005, dissolving the Nakano Kai and burying a turbulent bloodline. As the fifth-generation era bled out, the Nakano Kai's erasure removed yet another rival from the chessboard. The Nakano Kai was gone, and its quiet death revealed just how violently the balance of power had shifted inside headquarters. Kobe entered a ruthless new phase. The old factional order was dead, and the battle to forge the next regime had already begun. The moment Tsukasa took the throne, Takayama seized the Kodo Kai. Within months, he ascended to Wakagashira, the absolute second-in-command of the sixth-generation empire. Together, Tsukasa and Takayama tightened the Kodo Kai's iron grip over the executive board, aggressively rewriting the syndicate's future. What emerged from the ashes was the new Yamaguchi-gumi, a brutal, top-down dictatorship designed to centralize authority, crush dissent, and chain the entire command structure to Tsukasa and Takayama. Potential rebels were systematically purged. Personnel control had become the new regime's deadliest weapon. Takayama seized total operational control. His rapid ascent marked the exact moment the new regime hardened into a dictatorship. The headquarters transformed into a massive collection point. Extorted monthly dues now fed the expanding, hungry machinery of the sixth generation. Monthly dues skyrocketed to a staggering 1 million yen, choking the financial life out of subordinate groups. Boxes of mineral water began piling up at office entrances, a seemingly mundane delivery that masked a suffocating pressure from above. Inside storage rooms, mountains of overpriced water and rice piled up to the ceiling, a physical monument to the burden forced upon the men. to veteran bosses. These forced sales were an insult, a mandatory second tribute, siphoning their cash directly to the top. The scheme was a mafia tax in plain sight. Those unnatural stacks of daily goods proved that economic extortion was now the new law. This second tribute system took root, relentlessly forcing factions to buy their own survival through water and rice. Massive factions like the Yamakin-gumi were crushed under the enormous financial weight of this compulsory racket. Takayama enforced the policy with zero tolerance, tightening a financial noose around the entire syndicate. He weaponized this economic pressure to consolidate absolute power, lavishing rewards on the loyal and starving the dissenters. The Yamakin-gumi headquarters stood frozen, a fading monument to the old order that had ruled for decades. Watanabe Yoshinori, the fifth-generation king, had presided over that golden age of Yamakin dominance before being ruthlessly pushed aside. Investigators likened the Yamakin-gumi to Japan's ruling political establishment, an untouchable juggernaut that dictated the rules of the game. One veteran detective observed that the underworld power struggle perfectly mirrored the cutthroat factional warfare of Japan's ruling political party. By contrast, the Nagoya-based Kodokai had spent years operating in the shadows, treated as a mere undercurrent beneath the Yamakin giants. But in those shadows, the Kodokai had patiently stockpiled vast wealth and fierce loyalists, waiting at the edge of power. The moment Watanabe was ousted and Tsukasa took the throne, the syndicate's balance of power violently inverted. Tsukasa and Takayama revealed themselves as the master architects of a bloodless internal coup, tearing down the old hierarchy from within. This was no routine succession. It was a hostile, wholesale hijacking of the syndicate's internal power. The Yamakin-gumi's long, undisputed reign had officially ended. Other direct affiliates buckled under mounting financial strain, their bosses struggling to survive on rapidly shrinking resources. Sensing their desperation, Takayama funneled crucial financial and operational backing to his allies, buying their absolute loyalty. Power was no longer won with bullets, but consolidated through strategic alliances and crushing financial leverage. Headquarters transformed into an absolute fortress where tribute, promotions, and disciplinary terror were exclusively concentrated. Hashimoto and Ota, both from the rival Yamakin bloodline, were suddenly elevated to direct affiliates, a calculated move to divide and conquer. Police intelligence noted how these surgical promotions systematically hollowed out the Yamakin-gumi's influence. Under Takayama's new order, Yamakin subordinates were continuously poached and elevated, deliberately bypassing the old chain of command. Simultaneously, the sheer volume of tribute flowing upward exploded, proving the terrifying efficiency of the new regime's financial grip. Takayama was widely recognized as the ruthless mastermind behind this personnel strategy, permanently crippling his internal rivals. By November 2005, the elevation of Yutao Morio, yet another Yamakin loyalist, confirmed the relentless pattern of internal poaching. Bled dry by defections, the once mighty Yamakan-gumi's ranks plummeted to roughly 6,000 men. By late 2005, Tsukasa and Takayama had forged an unbreakable grip over the new sixth-generation regime. Outside headquarters, a constant stream of arriving affiliates silently signaled their submission to the new order. Headquarters no longer represented a balance of factions. It was the nerve center of a hardened, unyielding dictatorship. With the inside secured, the regime's crosshairs shifted to Tokyo's Ginza, the ultimate prize for expansion. In September 2005, barely a month into the new reign, a shockwave announcement jolted the Japanese underworld. Kudo Kazuyoshi, boss of the Kokusui Kai, drank the traditional sake cup, formally handing the keys of his Tokyo empire over to the sixth generation. The strategy was dangerously clear: reclaim the golden territories of Ginza and Roppongi, turf long leased to the rival Sumiyoshi Kai. These prime districts had originally belonged to the Kokusui Kai's turf, before being leased out and controlled by others for decades. Veteran investigators recognized this as Takayama's opening gambit. The iron order he built in Kobe was about to unleash war in Tokyo and far beyond.